Hello everyone, this is Betsy from Ideas Times 2. Welcome to our channel. Today I have a little bit of a craft with me, kind of tutorial. So I was inspired to do this by these little button journals that I made. These were the video prior to this one. I'd made these little journals out of buttons for the cover, and then the inside is just sort of a typical junk journal pages, and the back is a cardstock, and they tie together with this ribbon. And so I made several of them. Some of these are maybe an inch buttons, and then I think this biggest one is 1 5/8 if I remember right. So lots of fun doing these little journals, and I love the round shape, and so that round shape sort of inspired me. I've been wanting for a long time to do something with some of the scraps of paper I have from Stamperia. So I don't recall what the name of this paper is. I'll see if I can find that and put it down below. But it's just gorgeous, and it's all about cakes and sweets. And it has lots of cutouts and different things like that. But what I love are these. Now, obviously you can use these for so many different things, tuck spots, and put them on different elements, not use them as round, but I'd really like to use these as round, inspired by my round journal from buttons. And so I'm going to make today, use this image, and I'm going to make a round journal from one of these, and I will bring you along and show you how I'm going to do this. It's a craft with me, so I might make a mistake or two, but hopefully I can get that figured out. So this one, I've been, for a long time, I've been wanting to make a journal out of this page without cutting it up. I just am in love with it. It is huge, so I will need to, if I do make something out of this, I will have to buy some bigger paper. It's a 10-inch diameter circle, so I will have to get some different paper, but I would love to kind of sort of take this technique onto this paper, use this as a cover, and I think that'll be lots of fun too. But for now, we're going to start with this smaller one. So this one is 2.5 inches in diameter. So I have started just to sort of think through the process. It's going to be very similar to the button journals. I have cut out some pages already. So I had a die. I don't have, for the button journal, I had to cut the pages by hand because I didn't have the right kind of die for that. This one I did have a die that was a really good size for the cover, and so I laid, now these are going to have to be trimmed. I know from just making journals, right, that if you have a bunch of pages together, and even if the spines are super tight, you know, pushed together in the back, there's still going to be some areas here that are going to need to be trimmed. And when I was doing the button journal, I also noticed that like this little edge here along each of the spines almost always needed cutting. So I do know I need to trim these, but I did cut them out with a die. Some of them I didn't, but most of them I did. So I just took a few pages at a time, put my die on here, and just kept part of the die off of the folded edge of this paper, and then ran it through, and then the part that was off the edge of this fold, of course, doesn't cut through the paper, so I do have a straight edge here for my spine. These are all folded in half, so you can see what the shape looks like there. And I found all kinds of little papers, some coffee stained, and I think avocado stained, some notebook paper. This one is sumidagashi, which is Japanese ink dyeing process. So I have all of these things ready to go. But I do know that they will have to be trimmed, and it'll have to be trimmed by hand. So So I'm not sure if there was an advantage to actually running these through the die machine, but I'm just winging it. I'm just going to give that a try, see if that made it any easier. Alright, so now I want to make this cover a little bit, and I couldn't like make it one piece like these because it came on a sheet. It came on a sheet like this with like these I could probably put together, but this one was on a sheet of like a miscellaneous images like this one. And so I couldn't really fold it in half because then these images would get spoiled and not line up correctly and stuff. Now this one, I've done this before too, where I folded some cut aparts. I folded it like that and got a front and back cover out of it. Not rounded necessarily, but I think a rectangular one or two I've done. But this one I'm going to try round. So this one I cut it out separately, and I want this cover to be a little sturdy, so I cut out a scrap piece of watercolor paper, and I'm going to glue that on. And then my plan is to I'll put an inside cover. So this will be the outside cover, that'll be the inside cover with the watercolor paper sandwiched in between. And then I think I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I cut out 2 circles for the back cover. And I think I'll need to cut a watercolor piece for that. Yeah. So I'm going to cut a watercolor piece for that. We'll start gluing that together, and I'll show you what I came up with for the spine as well. Alright, so now I've got my 3 pieces for the cover, 3 pieces for the back cover. So I'll just glue those and sandwich those. But before I totally glue them down, my idea for the spine, it is just a little over 1 inch wide. Not very well. So I'm gonna sew the edges of this, glue it in, glue this in like this, and then I'm gonna sew around the edge with the spine intact, so that also will reinforce that spine. Okay, instead of just having the glue, it's sandwiched in between the glues. Oops, like that. So instead of just glue holding it together, it's actually going to have a stitching line here because I'm going to stitch all the way around. So I'm going to glue just for a little bit and fast forward that so you can see what I'm doing, but I won't make you watch the whole thing, of course. And then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch, and then I'll show you what I did after that. So I'm going to start some gluing, and I want this Tyvek not to show, so I'm going to trim it up just a tiny bit here. And of course it's not going to show on the ends at all because that's going to be glued in between the layers of the cover. So that looks pretty good. And now I don't want this to be real thick, but I do want it to be sturdy. So that's why I'm using Tyvek in the middle here. And I'm trying to get this as thin as possible because I don't want the glue to seep through. Normally, if you've been watching our channel for a while, I prefer to use like an interfacing just so that that the glue doesn't seep through, but I don't want to make this very thick either. And I can kind of see the blue part of this is actually coming off on the fabric. I don't think it looks terrible though. I think we're doing okay. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Yeah, this is a leftover envelope, so it would be nicer to have just like a white sheet, but I think it'll be okay. Maybe. And this fabric is fairly thick cotton. Okay, so here is my spine. I'm leaving the edges raw, and I'll probably even fringe them out just a little bit like that. So now I'm going to stitch on each side of this. I don't have to stitch I'll trim this up a little bit, but I don't have to stitch on the ends, like I said, because those are going to be glued right in, but I will stitch along the sides just for some decoration. And I'll be right back. All right, so we're all stitched on there, and now we're going to go ahead and glue the watercolor paper onto the image. If you have a scrap like this that you feel you'd rather paint first, you could definitely paint this white. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on. My paper isn't see-through or anything, and it's an exact sort of size. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on. And the reason why I'm gluing this down without putting that hinge in yet is because this fabric is probably going to leave a little bit of a bump on the paper, and I didn't want that to show on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the back. My circles, there's the inside cover, outside. So I'm going to ink around the edges real quick. I decided to sew, I decided to break these up into 2 signatures. So I'll kind of explain how I'm going to put these in. I think it'll be super cute to put like a half rounded pocket there. I think that's going to be really cute. And I like the sturdiness of these with that watercolor paper in there. I think that's working out really well. So get this inked up a little bit. All right, good. Okay, so now what I did was I have a heat erasable pen, so I don't know if you can see, I just drew 2 straight lines there, tried to keep it well, they're even from each other, and then giving myself some room here between the covers as well. So just kind of evenly spaced some lines there, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew these in. And then once we get those sewn in, I'm going to take a look at it and see if I need to trim up those pages. Here it is. So all done. I did put the eyelets in, tied it with sari silk. Here's the front cover, spine, and the back cover. So let me just crack it open. It is not decorated yet, but I can't wait to do that. So all kinds of little miscellaneous pages. So it's kind of a journal slash little notebook, kind of a fun thing. Maybe a good Christmas stocking stuffer or something like that, or part of a gift. Super fun, super cute. So if you have any round, well, or you could just use a punch, paper punch or something like that. Or if you have a round cut apart like I had here, it's an idea how to use them up in a different way, I guess. And I love the fabric spine on that. So lots of fun. I hope this inspires you to try this. Maybe try a different method. Maybe you didn't like, you know, a certain aspect of it, so you could change it up and try something new. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Take care, and I'll put all the links where you can find us down below. And have a great day. Bye.